The information provided on this podcast is for general information purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your qualified health provider with any questions you may have. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard on this podcast. Reliance on any information provided here is solely at your own risk.
Welcome! This is Birth, baby! Your hosts are Ciarra Morgan and Samantha Kelly. Ciarra is a birth doula, hypnobirthing educator, and pediatric sleep consultant.
Samantha is a birth doula, childbirth educator, and lactation counselor. Join us as we guide you through your options for your pregnancy, birth, and postpartum journey.
Today we have Anya Casteel with us. Anya is a mom, midwife, doula, and childbirth educator who's been supporting women on their childbirth journey since 2015. She deeply believes in every woman's ability to give birth. Her ultimate goal is to inspire and empower women around the world, and we have her here today to talk about a really fun topic to us, which is big babies. Thanks so much for being here today, Anya.
Of course, thank you for inviting me.
So, tell us a little bit about you and your family.
Okay, well, as you said, I'm a mom. It's a first thing that comes to my mind. I have a almost 7-year-old son, and that's my story into the birth world started before that, but he definitely made me who I am right now. And his birth made me the midwife I am right now, I believe, So I came to the States when I was probably 7 months pregnant, very, very, very much pregnant. The whole idea was to give a home birth. I always wanted it. At the time, me and my son's dad, we lived in Europe, in Hungary, in Budapest, where home births were illegal, and it's you kind of can have a home birth, but no one can assist you in it, and it's illegal for the provider. So we were thinking about moving anyway, and so we were like, "What? This is a good time right now. I'm pregnant, Let's just start it, in a different country." We moved here, and I was trying to find a home birth midwife back in 2016, which was really hard, because everyone was fully booked, or they were like, "Who are you?"
Yeah, at 7 months pregnant, that's pretty difficult to find a provider at 7 months pregnant.
Even more, I didn't have a prenatal care before, like I kind of did the prenatal care for myself, I was I was very radical at that time. I was 22 years old. I'm like, I can handle it all by myself. So, and everyone was a little bit scared of me. It feels like now I understand. My English was zero. So I was only one thing I could do is typing through the Google Translator. I couldn't even talk, because
You know what I just
I,
thought of? You
yeah.
know how there's all those scams that go around, and
Yes,
so people probably thought you were a scammer, like, I don't speak
100%.
English and I'm 7 months pregnant and I need a midwife for home birth and I haven't had any prenatal care. Like that just screams scam.
I actually met the midwife. I don't remember who was it. And she was like, I remember you emailed me and I thought it is a scam. And literally 90% just did not respond to me even,
I
That
don't
is so
doubt
funny.
it. I don't
So
doubt
was
it for
this in
anybody.
Now
Austin?
I understand when I'm a midwife,
Was this in Austin?
Wasn't us,
Okay.
exactly. So, so the rest, or they were responding and they're like, sorry, we're fully booked. We cannot take care of you. The 10% that responded me, I didn't align with, because I was, again, as I said, I was really radical. I was working as a doula already before my pregnancy, I started. And I'm like, I don't want a Doppler, I don't want a vaginal exam, zero. Like, and I was, so firm. It's not like, well, maybe one exam, no exams, no Doppler, maybe a little bit sometimes when you're no Doppler. So I was like, I want this, I want this, I want that, and everyone was like, you're crazy, okay? And actually, I ended up not having a midwife, and I am originally from Russia, where the situation with the home birth is the same as in Budapest. It's illegal. You can have a home birth, but it's illegal for the provider to assist you in it. And that's why you hear, not a lot, but you hear the stories about the unassisted birth, because unfortunately, that's the only one option, not safe, but option. So, and I've heard about that, and I started researching it, and I was like, okay, I guess I literally don't have a midwife, but I want to have a home birth. So I'm just gonna do it by myself then. So,
And young people
on
really are like invincible. We really
yeah,
think when we're young that we're invincible. So you're probably like,
yeah,
these people don't know what they're talking about. I'm 22. I've got this. I'm going to have my
I
own darn
got
baby
this.
at home by myself.
Exactly, definitely. There was lots of thinking, there was lots of thinking and lots of preparation, I read obstetric books, like that. I was just like whatever I could find. I read not a doula, not like inspiring things, but things that can go wrong. Like how I can, on a natural way from what I have, stop the hemorrhage. Or I took resuscitation, the neonatal resuscitation course. So like I've been like very very much pregnant, and just to know what to do if my baby needs resuscitation, like I really took responsibility. It was not like, airy fairy, oh, I'm just gonna do it at home, and everything's gonna be fine. No, I knew exactly what can go wrong, and what I can possibly do. And I remember talking to myself mostly, that it was a really big shift in my mind. um, I I I clearly understood that it's, for example, if there is shoulder dystocia, I cannot do anything. It's impossible. And his dad, who is the only one person who were there, won't be able to do anything. He did not read any books. He was not really participating much in it, But um, I knew that because of my maybe stupid, who knows, decision, he can die, or I can die, because it will take, if it's a true hemorrhage, I won't be able to stop it with herbs, or whatever, placenta, or if it's a retained placenta and stuff. Like I knew that it will take 5 minutes and we won't be able to get to the hospital in time, and I can die. And I remember thinking about that, and I remember like, is it worth it? And I was praying, I was meditating, and I listened to myself. And at some point, I felt like, yes, it's worth it, And I know now that I would never, ever be able to have the birth I had, anywhere or with anyone, because he was full 42 weeks, full on top, on the dot,
Wow.
And exactly. And he was 10 and a half pounds, 10.5 to
Oh my
be
goodness.
exact,
Amazing.
And exactly, you're listening to me. If you would see me, I am um, 5'7", and my weight usually 100.
Oh my
So
gosh.
Yeah.
I'm
You're
You're
teeny
teeny
tiny.
tiny.
petite and
I'm
tall. Yes.
I'm teeny tiny tall, exactly, ballerina. So
Yeah.
um, that's I feel like that's what make me who I am.
Yeah.
That's what really put me into the, questioning
Yeah.
dates, size, stuff like
And
choice.
I know we're here to talk about big babies, but I do have
Yeah.
to ask you, I know this isn't technically a
Please.
birth story episode, but I have to know how long you were in labor with that big old baby.
So, from the first contraction I ever felt, like first, like, the one I was walking outside and was like, Braxton Hicks again, 8 hours until he was born.
Oh
Wow, for a
my
So,
first birth.
Lanta.
so yes, I was walking in the evening for 2 hours, and I was keep having the contractions. And I remember at some point I started stopping, because it's like I just cannot walk through it anymore. I stop and then I walk, and I stop and then I walk. And I remember Leah's dad, he's like, "Are you in labor?" And I'm like, "No, this is just Braxton Hicks." And he's like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm 42 weeks. Girls, I thought that he's gonna live inside me, that's until 18 at least, because I mean,
It's never coming
he's
out.
he's chill, he's good, he's safe, he's protected, I'm like, there's no need to come out, right? I'm I'm totally, I was like, I'm never gonna be in labor at the time. And yeah, and then I remember, like, last thing he say after like maybe 30 minutes, he's like, "Well, Anya, just so you know, your Braxton Hicks every 3 minutes." And I'm like, "Thanks for letting me know." Okay, we went back home, and everything's just started picking up really fast. From these 8 hours, 2 hours I was pushing.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
big baby.
Big
Yeah,
baby. But I think that's such a like birth is kind of designed. I say this in my childbirth class. Birth is designed to happen with no one else around, right? Like our bodies
absolutely.
just kind of know what to do. And a lot of times if people are left to be undisturbed and to listen to their bodies, it is going to go faster. And it is, and when you are so
Exactly.
in tune with your body and trusting in yourself and all that preparation you did, I'm
Yeah.
sure helped so much.
You don't know, like in the beginning, that's what I teach every my client: distract yourself in the beginning, don't start laboring, don't start breathing, doing your technique or whatever, don't even wake up your partner. I always say, just you start feeling it, well, I don't know, try to lay down, try to take a bath, walk, read a book, do something like, no, this is Braxton Hicks, I'm not in labor, because it will really mentally, it helps you so much, because you don't even count that you started laboring yet. And because this part can be very long. And I believe that um again, on physiological level, closer to birth, our body release more like relaxing. Everything is opening, everything is shifting, everything is getting more ready. So if you wait, and yes, sometimes it's 42 weeks, but your body did so much work, invisible work before that.
I
So
love
you
that invisible
prepared.
work.
Yeah, you
So
don't.
I know you
Yeah,
said that you were a doula before and that he
yeah.
really made you a midwife kind of. What got you into birth work before even having your own kids? Because I know that some people do, but I'm always so intrigued at what got them into that work.
Right. I was completely not in a theme. I was at first I was a theatrical actress. I studied in Russia in theatrical academy. Then I went to Budapest. The reason why we moved to Hungary to study ballet. So I went to a dance ballet academy, a really big one in Europe. There was people from all the Europe, from Germany, from France, from Poland, from Italy, and I studied there for a year. And either I still do not understand, either I got really burned out, but I remember feeling that I'm wasting my time. I'm like, I'm not changing anything, I'm not doing anything. I'm like, who cares about that? I'm like, At some point, I start feeling that like all I do is, just for fun and doesn't have any impact. And I got into such a deep um, feelings. I left, and I at some point I went back to Russia and stayed for a couple of months with my mom. I don't know. We were not even talking. I was like, I did not know what to do. I was completely lost. And at some point, I woke up in the morning and I'm like, I want to go to India. I was doing yoga since I was, 18 or 16, something like that. And I'm like, I want to go to India, study yoga, and I don't know. It's absolutely irrational thing. But
I love it.
all my
Free
best
spirit.
decisions in my life, I made, it was all irrational. When I listened to myself, and I was like, well, I don't know. It sounds crazy, but I'm going. And my mom is the same way, and she's like, "Whoa, sounds cool. Yeah. Do you need the? I have money for the ticket. I don't have money for anything else." And I was like, "Thank you, mom." So she supported me, and I went to India for a month, studied yoga, and that's where I felt. We were meditating a lot, practicing a lot, living in a shram the whole time, and that's where I felt I want to work with women. I did not even understand what does it mean. I swear at that time I did not know the word doula or midwife. I was so far from all these births, and kids and stuff. But it's physical or in your body. You feel like you want to work with women. And I'm like, okay, now I start, logically thinking, where are all the women? Prenatal yoga, right? So from India, I went to China and I took the big prenatal yoga course, prenatal, instructor course. And our instructor was a doula. And she was telling us all these stories. And I'm like, oh, this sounds like so amazing. And I came back to Europe and I started reading all the books. And I had my first classes, yoga. I was like, I'm not a doula, come on, I'm a yoga instructor, and I started having clients and big classes. And one girl come to me once and she's like, I really like your voice and I like your presence. Can you come with me on the birth? Like, I don't want she was like, my husband is really, makes me insane, and he's not helpful in all of this, but like, can you be my doula?
That gives me the chills. Like you weren't
Really?
even out there looking for clients. You just want to be
No,
with women and she comes to
absolutely.
you and
She
finds you.
comes to me, she
How
finds
beautiful.
me, and yeah, we still are friends, and I'm like, yeah, of course, I'm free woman, I don't have kids, I can be on call, just call me anytime. And that birth, I still remember it. Yeah, now I have chills, because I vividly remember her moving, her sound. It was my first birth, like I've ever seen in my life. And it was beautiful. I was lucky because I know many stories of different midwives and doulas who had a very rough beginning. I was very, very lucky. It was beautiful. First time hospital birth, you know. And I remember night. It took night. I came at 9 p.m. and at 6 a.m. I left. And I remember I was staying at the bus stop, and I swear I was calling every single person I could. I called my dad first. He's always my support. I was like, Dad, you cannot imagine. I've seen a miracle. That was a miracle. That was so cool. Yeah, he was like, he's just listening to me all the time. He's really good listener. And then I called everyone. I called my mom. My mom's like, how can you be interested in that? I was like, Mom, you don't understand. Seriously, she had post-traumatic birth with me, my brother, very usual. And then she's like, this is not sound good. I
There's
called everyone.
nothing.
No one understood. I was like 20 years, 21 or something. And everyone was like, what are you talking about? I was like, guys,
That's how
this
you
is
find a
so
birth worker
cool.
in the wild when we can't shut up about it, because it's such a
Absolutely.
miracle. I mean, all of us have been doing this for so many years now, and every time it's still
Every
like
time it's a
you get that
miracle.
birth high. And we say it a
100%.
million times, but it's amazing.
Absolutely.
It gives me, when you said, you told her, just call me anytime, I'm free, I can come. It
Yeah.
made me think for just a second, like, can you just imagine being before the time and being a birth worker before the time
Mm-hmm.
of easy communication with telephones?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And how, I mean, I'm constantly attached to my
Yeah.
phone. My phone is my
Yeah.
lifeline to all of our
100%.
clients, and being able to have them have access to me anytime. And it
100%.
just is such a wild thing to think about. Like, somebody might have had to come and get you from from your
It is.
house.
Exactly. From
It
your
is.
house or from someone's house if it's during the
Yeah.
day, trying to call everyone and see where you are. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But I feel like we have that downside with it. We are a little bit on a chronic underlying stress and a
Oh
little bit
yeah.
of anxiety.
I think all three of
Very
us
true.
have our phones right here in our eye line and our grasp just in case.
We all
Exactly.
just picked
Waiting
them
for
up. You guys
babies.
can't see at home, but we just picked them up and showed them. Like, there was no second delay, 0 second delay from us all being able to pick them up. But you're right, it is
This is
also
birth work in
a
2023.
downside, because also our
Downside, yeah.
clients feel that they can just reach out to us anytime, which in one way I'm glad that they have that support, but also
Yeah,
sometimes it makes them not listen to their own voice and kind of
Hmm.
rely on that
exactly.
outside source. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what I see is the most in my world. Again, coming from my experience that shaped me, I do believe that no one knows better than the woman. You know, no one doctor, no one midwife, not a concilium of doctors and midwives all together. I tell all my clients, is like, well, I can share my knowledge, I can share my experience, my wisdom, but I'm not in your body. You
Hmm.
are in your body. You know better, because many women, you afraid to trust your instincts. You don't know, or uh, it's interesting because so many women ask, as a doula too, which position?
Yeah.
How should I breathe? You
Yeah.
know, and in the beginning as a doula, I was like, yeah, let's try this, let's try that, like thinking
Hmm.
again, logic. And now I constantly ask them, how do you feel?
Hmm.
What works better? I don't know,
Yeah.
and some of them gets really annoyed, by me, but I was like, yeah, you chose this midwife, I'm not
So
Yeah.
you
gonna
went,
tell you.
yeah. So you went
Yeah.
from doula, who was kind of just watching and trying these things, to then deciding after you had your son that you knew that was going to put you into midwifery care eventually, and you had a really big baby. So would you say that you having a big baby also and having a free birth influenced how you approach midwifery care? Because I know you said before it was kind of a crazy
100,
idea and radical, but
right,
does that change how you
100%.
practice?
100%, I mean, again, I come from the idea that woman has to have a choice, you know, and this is the most important thing. It's not like, well, yes, the risks are this and that, but you cannot push woman, to get an induction just because of these risks or something, because I do believe she needs to understand that, and that's what I see in my role, to explain her this is the risks, this is the benefits, but we have, how do you say, we have three ways of knowing, you
Hmm.
know, um, our modern knowing is like all this evidence-based information, facts, statistics, numbers, all of that. Um, our instincts, completely irrational things, our gut feeling, but like, yes, this is insane. It's like, it's, I don't know, it might be not safe, but I feel like it, and primal knowing.
Yeah.
It's, from our ancestors. It's, again, like very like animal thing. And you can make a true informed decision only putting all these knowings together, because otherwise, it's one side. And again, birth, we are more like animals. We cannot just come from the brain, from the statistics, from the numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a saying, you can or you can't, and whichever way you think, you're right.
Yeah,
And I think that, for example, we have a client right now who is said to
yeah,
she's going to have a very large baby. She's like
right,
5'11", her husband's 6'3",
exactly.
and they're estimating that her baby's going to be very large, but she's afraid of it. And her gut tells
That's
her
right.
that she shouldn't have a big baby, even though she is
Exactly.
a tall woman. And there are
Yeah,
other things that are making her gut say, I don't think that this is safe. And then
yeah.
we have other moms who are like, I can totally have a big baby. I'm not afraid of that big baby.
Mm-hmm.
And both
Mm-hmm.
ways are right. And I don't think it's necessarily that um, you were scared, so then you couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's your body knew
You
something would
listen
go
to
wrong. And so
yourself.
you didn't choose it. And
Mm-hmm.
then the other way, your body knew you would be okay. And so you were. And so I think that
Exactly.
listening to that instinct is so, so huge.
It is huge. It's the key, listen to yourself always, 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 and get into this. Because yes, I've seen it, for the whole past years. I've seen sometimes women choose a home birth and nothing is progressing and nothing is moving, and like we're stuck if you don't understand what's going on. But then as soon as we move to the hospital, everything just like unfolds and she have a baby in 2 hours, and well, somewhere deep inside her, she felt more safe at the hospital, near the surgery, near the I don't know, NICU and stuff. So you really need to listen to yourself. This is the key. There is no right or wrong place to give birth. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
That's
You
huge.
know.
That's so, so huge. And we push that, we talk about that all the time with our clients. Your gut is the most important thing when we're talking
Yeah.
about where to give birth. Yes,
Yeah.
statistically, birthing at home is safe. Birthing with a
Yeah.
midwife is safe,
Yeah.
and we think that in most cases that's something that should be considered at least. But if your gut is telling you not to deliver
Yeah.
at home, that's not where you should have your baby, then exactly like you said, we might be looking at a stalled labor where we end up having to
Right.
transfer anyways, and your body
Right.
doesn't allow that baby to move until we get to the end. It's something that we
I
as birth workers see all the time.
I want to add just one thing. This
Mm.
is what I like right after birth, and I keep thinking about it years and years and years. I believe if someone would tell me, Anya, you're gonna have a 10-pound baby, I don't think I would do it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I wouldn't do it. Definitely wouldn't do it by myself. And I'm not sure I would do it at home,
Yeah,
because my logic would, turn on for sure. And I was like, are you crazy? He is
absolutely.
definitely going to stuck.
Yeah.
Like, you are not meant
That
to,
shoulder
you are
dystocia, you
not
said that you
meant,
wouldn't.
he is huge. He was huge. So, I mean, from the, again, shoulder distortion, something, another big topic that's I'm passionate about. It took 3 contractions from birth of his head to birth of the body. Is it
Mm,
shoulder dystocia? I don't know.
maybe. But you
Who
didn't
knows?
need to qualify it as anything, right?
Yeah.
And I
Who
don't think that
knows?
she would mind me sharing this, but we recently had a mom who kept being told that she was going to have a 10-pound
Oh
baby. You're going to have a
yeah.
10-pound baby. You're going to have a 10-pound baby. And she was like, Ciarra, I'm not worried about having a 10-pound baby. I'm not worried about it. And my belly is not that big. I really don't think it's going to be a 10-pound baby.
Mhm,
And we get to the
mhm.
hospital. She's doing great. And people keep coming in and saying, oh, you're the one with the 10-pound baby. They had written it on a board in the
Yeah,
nurses
yeah,
area.
yeah,
Room so and so,
yeah,
suspected big baby. And at one point, she lost control
yeah,
of her pain management and being able to deal with it. And she looked at me, she's like, I need an epidural. I need it. I need it. I need it. And I was like,
yeah,
we talked through it and she decided to get one. And she looked at me afterward and she goes, they scared me. I was
yeah,
really afraid that he was too big or she was too
yeah,
big. And The baby was 9.5 pounds, but she did
Yeah,
great and her body was
yeah,
fine. But her body did not open until
yeah.
we got that epidural and relaxed and slept because
Because that's what
she was
she
so
needed to
scared.
feel safe.
And that's
Yeah.
exactly, and that's good that it worked out because I had mama. It did not work out, even though it was her second baby. First one, almost 9 pounds, easy birth in Russia back, no complications, no epidural, unmedicated, she's capable. This time, of course, ultrasound, 10-pound baby, and risk of shoulder dystocia. And unfortunately, obviously, pushed her into induction every single appointment, called her. She stopped picking up the phone, you know. And in labor, we come to the hospital. She was, as soon as we come, I think she was 7 or 8. And since that, we had 2 doctors who come and explained all the worst case scenarios if the shoulder dystocia happens. And I've never even heard about thing like that. And I already had my education, my midwife education. But this doctor said sometimes when the head is born, but the body is not born, I will need to push the head inside and do the C-section. And it can, damage the baby's neck and baby can be paralyzed. And I'm like, this is.
And what parent after hearing that is going to go, yeah, let's try it?
Let's try it. Yeah, exactly. Sounds good. Yeah, I still believe in myself, because, and she's like from our point, she's like, I don't care. She was trying to block it, I don't care. I don't want to listen to it. And she was saying, I don't want to listen to it. And they was like, we have to explain, we're trying, save mama, save baby. This is our ultimate goal, Girls, she never opened up more than 8 centimeters.
Yeah.
We've been in the hospital for 12 hours. Yeah. We got epidural. She did not want it for pain management at all. But the doctor said, I think you should get it, because you're stalled, your body is like, and we got epidural, nothing changed. She had a C-section in the end. And it was 8 pounds, like 12 ounces baby, like her first one.
Totally normal baby.
Totally normal baby.
Oh, yep. So what is a big baby and how do doctors decide that you have one?
Exactly. This is a good question. So ultrasounds, this is the thing. We are as a midwives, we feel the baby, we feel the growth. And you come and you constantly checking, okay, you can approximately feel like, okay, this is the size of the head, this is how big the baby is, and you kind of more involved into the into this growing process. Doctors, not really. They do believe ultrasounds more than their hands, or eyes, even, or ears, but no one talks about margin of error with the ultrasound, especially closer to birth. It becomes less and less accurate. But most of the time, this becomes the reason for all these inductions, or even sometimes, funny enough, planned C-sections. Unfortunately, it wouldn't be funny if I was not a doula for that mom.
Yeah.
And that's why you see, you can believe in woman as much as you want, but then you hear the doctor who says, you're gonna have a big baby, whatever, and the big baby, they everything what 9 and more, they call big baby.
So over 9 pounds.
Over 9 pounds, exactly. Okay. Everything was
not 8 pounds 12 ounces, like that other
exactly.
girl.
Exactly
this is so huge too, because my husband plays soccer, and when we went to one of his soccer games, I actually had a mom in labor texting
Mhm.
me and I ended up having to go. But one of the older
That's
women
sweet.
there knew what I was doing and knew that
Mhm.
I was like maybe going to have to leave because I was talking to everybody about who could drive my husband and my kids home because I was going to be taking my car. And she said, "Oh, did you know that with my oldest son, they told me I had to have him at 37 weeks because he was too big?"
Too
And I
big.
said, "Oh, that's interesting." And this was like, 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, what happened?" And she said, "Well, I had him at 37 weeks because they told me I had to because he was too big already.
Yeah.
And he was born at 5 pounds and had to be in the NICU."
Surprise, surprise.
And yeah, shocker. And I was like, that is what we see. We see that the margin of error here is huge. And
Yeah.
we had a mom that was told that her baby was going to be 11 pounds, 11 and a
Yeah.
half pounds, they said.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she ended up having a cesarean for extremely high blood pressure with a very
Yeah.
last minute, like 40 weeks in one day.
Yeah.
And only reason I was excited we were having that baby at 40 weeks one day is because I got to see how big the baby actually
Big.
was when they said that's when it was going to be 11 and a half pounds. And she was 9 pounds, 5 ounces.
There
And
we
this
are.
was a big, beautiful Brazilian woman who knew that her body could have a big baby. And she was like, "I'm not
Exactly.
afraid of a big baby." But then she was like, "Ha, it wasn't an 11 and a half pound baby. And
Exactly.
so we're trusting this tool that actually, the further along you are in pregnancy, the less accurate it is. And
Exactly.
at that 36-week mark, all of a sudden, people are calling it the Bible on
Yeah.
whether or not we're having a big baby. And we're making decisions based on that. It's
Yeah.
wild.
Even more, there is literally last month I had one mama like that, and my colleague, she had two doula clients with this different doctors, different even hospitals, but same idea. You can research it. There is whatever and it's not even new research, but by measuring baby's abdomen, I think if it gets like over 50 percentile, I'm not 100% sure, or something. They all these doctors, and I researched all the internet. I couldn't find this information, but all these doctors said it's 100% shoulder dystocia. 100%. Like I was like, you cannot say 100%. Like nothing is 100% in this world in general.
Yeah,
That
let's
like
hedge our bets here, folks.
no 100%. So
I'm calling
uh
Vegas.
That's what I'm
Have
saying.
bets to make.
exactly. And I was like, okay, sounds good. Obviously, my mama is a second birth. I was her doula first time 4 years ago. Beautiful, amazing birth, and I was like, okay, well, let's see. And her plan was if she doesn't go into labor by 39 weeks, they schedule C-section at 39 weeks because shoulder dystocia, and apparently now shoulder dystocia is more dangerous than C-section. I
And
don't
we're not even going
understand.
to try to induce at 39 weeks. We're just jumping to C-section.
We just jump into
Okay,
C-section and a second baby,
sure.
and obviously anything what I'm saying is nothing to compare to that. There's big research, 100%. You know, of course, and she goes in labor at 38 weeks. All's good somehow, and it was insane, guys, how they prepared for the birth. They put the steps to, and I know like it's for, for the nurse to press on the shoulder and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Full big room, everyone, there is like NICU team, everyone, like they literally 100% shoulder dystocia. Like we're already there. Everyone is so scared, so nervous, like it's in the air. Baby was 8 pounds, like
Mm-hmm.
1 ounce or something, and come all in one push. All
Amazing.
like doctor did not even have time to manipulate. He was like, no, just. flying out.
Oh, I love to hear it. That's
For people who
amazing.
are listening, and didn't understand the stool reference, we've had some people lately go, "You guys understand things that we don't understand, and then you don't explain them." So I have a feeling this might be one.
Yeah.
So
Right.
if there is a shoulder dystocia or a suspected shoulder dystocia, they will bring a stool up next to the bedside to help a nurse be a little bit taller so that they can reach on top of the mother and apply pressure to her abdomen, to the top of her fundus, to push the baby out and try to manipulate the baby inside so that the baby can be able to come out vaginally. And it's kind of not super comfortable for mom, and they pull her
Yeah.
legs back really far. And this is like somebody from
Yeah,
the
this
outside
one,
trying to
yeah,
push
A
yeah,
the
lot
baby.
of different
yeah.
maneuvers that they can
Yeah,
use.
this one is for suprapubic pressure mostly. Yes,
There
it's,
you go. She
when
knows the terms.
exactly when the nurse press, right above the pubic bone. So because that's most of the time that's where shoulder stuck, just this bone, behind, and she just press on it really hard, very forcefully, and it just like unclogged it,
Yeah.
you know.
Helps to get
You know
baby's
how
shoulder to kind of pop down a little so he
Ooh,
can move
yeah.
you know
down
how
under.
when men hear about someone's penis getting hurt or like their testicles being hurt and they like cringe, when you said the thing about like pushing down on the pubic bone to get the shoulder, I felt my gut like retract. Like I could feel that. I don't even have a uterus anymore. I've had a hysterectomy. I felt it. My uterus was in there for a second, feeling that pressure.
Feeling
I
that.
mean,
But the
it is
reality
not
is
comfortable.
it's not comfortable. But the reality is, just for anybody who has ever had to have this or who may have to have it in the future, they do this because that's still safer than,
Yeah.
some of the other maneuvers that they do. And there are other maneuvers that they would try before that, especially if you are with a talented midwife like Anya, who has done all of
Oh,
these,
I mean, yeah,
trainings for shoulder
when
dystocia.
when you are, this is the thing, you move. It's all about the movements,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, you're not on
most
your
of the
back.
time, exactly, you're not on your back. When you're on your back, your diameter of your pelvis decreases like, I think almost like 1.5 inch or something,
Yep.
Here we are, sometimes you just need to move to your
Go
hands
on
and
the
knees, to the
knees, go
lunge,
on the side.
get out of the tub, or all the movements. And most of the time, that's the first step.
Absolutely.
There are lots of things you can try, you can do. There's lots of maneuvers. And again, I've never read in any obstetric book that you can push the baby's head inside and do a C-section. This is not safe. This, like,
Definitely.
it should not, like, she shouldn't say it out loud, because if I was a mom, I would definitely sue her for that. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is
And
maybe your really brilliant idea, but you can kill the baby this way for sure.
And so we just
Yeah.
kind of gave a glimpse into one of the next questions we had for you, which is you're
Yeah.
saying, move positions and things like that. But what does
Yeah.
someone with a big baby need to do differently? Like, what are some things that you suggest when someone has a quote unquote suspected large baby, or
Yeah.
what do they do differently to help make their outcomes better?
Definitely movement is a key. Movement, and I am still doing yoga. I'm still in my deep heart a yoga instructor, and I value it a lot. And I see how, how certain positions in pregnancy, can help you to open it up. And just generally, especially in this country, I do believe that's one of the big problems why we, I don't know, labor stock, we have, higher intervention rate and stuff. We sit way too much, we sit at home, we sit at work, we sit in the car. Even to go to walk, you need to sit before, to get to the place to walk. I remember that was insane in the very beginning. And at least I tell I tell everyone, doesn't matter what size of the baby you're having, you should walk at least 2 hours a day. Start with 1 and bring it up to 2 closer to birth. What it does, it really, it lubricates all your pelvis, and it makes it movable, it makes it flexible. It just makes it breathe all what we need. You don't even need to do I don't know, any exercises or anything special. Just
Like, just
walk.
go for a walk. You don't need to curb
Mm-hmm.
walk. You don't need
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah, just walk.
jogging
walk.
up a hill. Just go on a sidewalk.
And I think
Walk.
that that's
Second.
such a big thing too, because people are trying to do all the things and then they're like going hard, right? Going real hard with all of the
Mm-hmm.
exercises that they're doing, but not all of those exercises are actually serving you well for preparing you
100%.
for birth. And especially in the United States, we just
100%.
are so freaking busy that we're
Mhm.
constantly sitting because we're on our computers or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not going down to the river to collect water and squatting down and
Mm-hmm.
cleaning our floors on our
Mm-hmm.
hands and knees
Mhm.
and things like that, which makes it a
Mm-hmm.
requirement that we actually put in an effort to take a walk. And I also
Mm-hmm.
think it's interesting that you say that because, there are some people that will say, like, don't tire yourself out before labor.
Mm-hmm.
And going on a
Mm-hmm.
couple of hour walk could potentially really tire you out. But
Mm-hmm.
if you've been doing it your whole pregnancy, it's not going to be
100%.
as tiring.
Yeah, 100%. Second thing, I ask at least my clients to throw out the chair and sit exclusively on the ball. Everywhere you go, ball goes with you. Dining chair, ball. Computer chair, ball.
I want to see some people
Couch,
rolling up
don't sit
to.
on the couch. Don't lean back. Ball.
I want to see some people like rolling up to Chili's with their birth ball in the back of their truck and just say, "Hey, I'm actually gonna use my chair, thanks." I love it. That's
Yeah,
fantastic
because
advice.
sitting on your sacrum is so awful. So sitting on your sits bones
Absolutely.
beside your sacrum and that birthing ball or whatever makes it a little bit more difficult to
It
sit back
makes
on
it
your sacrum.
rigid. It makes it rigid, all the bones, and especially if to the big baby we have older mama, like who's maybe over 35, and her bones are more rigid. It's just physiology, but it doesn't matter. She needs to do more, she needs to walk more, she needs to exactly work on this mobility. And I always talk, try to, exactly, because we're definitely overdoing, all of us, especially women, feels like, um, just try to incorporate it in your daily life. Turn on the music while you're cooking, while you're cleaning, move your hips, constantly. Don't stay just solid, just you're
There are so
brushing
many
your
fun
teeth, move
videos
your
right now
hips.
about that. Yeah, like
Yeah,
just moving your hips and like the amount of energy and positive energy that that brings to your body and it kind of shakes out all the negativity. It
absolutely.
feels kind of silly, but it works.
It works, and it's so easy, like you don't need to do anything special, because you're gonna clean no matter what, you're gonna cook no matter what, you're gonna brush your teeth no matter what. Just make it fun, you bring oxytocin up, you bring dopamine up, you move your hips, you make it all again, bring more air in between the bones. It's not that difficult, to be very honest, so. And then the posture, too, I explain, how our posture affects on the baby position inside of the uterus, you know, because I believe it doesn't matter what size of the baby. This is about the position of the baby. It can be 7-pound baby who can get stuck and have a horrible shoulder dystocia. I've seen it. And it was 7-pound baby. Who would be prepared? No one was prepared, and it was
People
hospital
don't think
birth.
about it.
No, you don't think about it. You think like, yes, 10-pound baby means shoulder dystocia. Not necessarily. As a provider, just generally, you have to be ready for shoulder dystocia for every single birth. I am ready for every single birth. Doesn't matter what size of the baby. How you can be like, you can put everyone into the induction at 38 weeks. You cannot just schedule C-section for everyone at 39 weeks. It's not safe. It's inhumane. you know?
Yeah.
But
I
this is
have
your provider. You need to be prepared.
I have a random question for you real quick, and this is totally out
Yeah,
of order and this wasn't on your
please.
list. So, but I tell people all the time that the biggest danger of having a big baby is a provider that is afraid of a big baby.
Exactly.
Can you kind of
Exactly.
explain why?
And it's not only about the big baby, it's about everything. You know, provider who, who has lots of fears and doesn't trust into the birth process is not going to be a good provider for you. That's just it. You know, because um, they when you have the fear, it just turn out your brain. You stop thinking rationally and you
You're
act
intervening. Yeah,
and you
you
act.
act.
And most of the time, it's not what is needed. You know,
Yeah.
it's lack of patience. The same with shoulder dystocia. You know, they call shoulder dystocia everything if the baby's body does not come after baby's head, they call it shoulder dystocia. I
Yeah. I've
mean,
been talking
we
about
as a
this in my
midwife
classes
see it
lately.
every single time, you know. We
Yes.
don't call it shoulder dystocia.
It's a
It's,
two-step
I'm
delivery.
sorry. Exactly. I'm sorry. It's lack of patience, you know, and lack
Yes.
of contraction. We need a contraction. It's not the baby stuck, you know, we need a contraction for this force to help this baby to turn and come out.
So for
What
those
we need,
listening,
your patience and,
yeah.
contraction.
And so for those listening, when I say two-step delivery,
Yeah,
and there are people who are like, I've never even heard of this. We're in some Facebook groups for like labor and delivery nurses and things like
yeah,
that, just because we're always wanting to learn and see what people are experiencing. And, sometimes the baby's head comes out, and then the provider oftentimes will pull on the baby's head.
yeah.
And then they'll say that the baby's stuck
Mm-hmm,
because the baby's shoulders are not coming out right away.
mm-hmm,
Except that that's not what happened. It's that
mm-hmm.
when your baby's head comes out, they sit there for a minute until the next contraction, or I usually say
Contraction.
and
wait.
and they
And then
restitute, and that's
and
that's
they
that's what's
restitute.
happening.
Absolutely.
Yes. Their shoulders turn. So they are an active participant in their birth.
Yeah.
They are rotating a little bit. I call it the football spiral. And they're
Mm-hmm.
coming down. And then when that next contraction happens, I feel like that's a dirty word. I never say it. It sounds really weird coming out of my mouth. But when the next contraction happens, the shoulders rotate and the
Yes,
baby is able to come out very easily. And
yes.
most of the time, that's what midwives do is they wait for that next one. And then the baby comes out because the mom pushes again and it works out
Mm-hmm.
great. But the providers in a hospital setting are not patient and they immediately start pulling on the baby's
Yeah,
head and they call it a shoulder dystocia, even when it's not. And another thing
yeah.
that's going on is we're inducing early for suspected big babies and we're wanting to, you know, jumpstart the process to try to have the baby not weigh so much when it comes out.
Yeah,
But the danger there is the baby may have been repositioning, and 2 weeks from now, the baby may have been in a
exactly.
perfect optimal position. But right now,
Exactly.
it's not. And now we're shoving Pitocin at it, or we're preemptively breaking the waters
Exactly.
so that we can start labor. And now the baby's in this crap position, and it's even harder to get this quote unquote big baby out.
And
Yeah.
we're inducing labor. We're adding all these medications that are just
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not what labor feels like normally. And so it is harder to deal with, and more people are likely to get epidurals, which means that you are more likely to be laboring on your back, which means that you're decreasing the pelvic,
Mm-hmm.
the space in your pelvis. You are literally increasing the
Diameter
risk of
and
shoulder
and and
dystocia.
and helping. You're not helping your baby. You disconnected from your body. You disconnected from your baby. It's a whole thing. And unfortunately, if you don't see the problem in it, like I cannot talk anything,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's important
about it
too.
because
So if
yeah,
y'all, anybody listening, what we're saying is that a provider shouldn't be making these choices for you. If
yeah,
you feel that you need an induction at 39 weeks for a suspected big baby
yeah,
because you have a gut intuition that something is
yeah,
wrong, please go do that. But don't
absolutely.
do it because the doctor is scaring you out of your birth plan and out of a spontaneous natural birth. So yeah, if you want to get an epidural, go for it. We are not saying that. We're saying that the cascade of interventions that happens when unnecessary interventions are being imposed on you because of provider preference rather than evidence, that's when the big problem comes.
And I think this goes back to what Anya was talking about in the beginning of this episode, where, just about shared decision making. Like we have all of these different ways of making decisions, and some of that is the evidence and what are the risks and the benefits. We always want to talk about that because it is helpful, and that is where your provider can come in helpful. But they are not inside your body. They do not have your primal instinct, and you have to supply that and make that decision together with your provider.
The problem is also the words, the words we are using, and it is hard, because I'm trying to do my best I'm trying not to even answer, because all the clients ask me, what did you do with Leo? Like vaccines, or I don't know, or whatever, circumcision, anything, like, what did you do? I was like, well, this is, my decision. I made it, I read lots of literature, I made it. Here is the literature for you, made it. I don't want my, decisions influence yours, because the same, that's the biggest one, especially when we're talking about the induction. How every single doctor said, risks of stillborn baby doubles, when you go post dates. It sounds horrific, even for me, and I know the numbers, and I'm like, when I hear it, risks of stillborn baby doubles, and you're like, oh my God, I don't want my baby stillborn. I mean, come on, no one wants mother this is the weakest spot, health of your baby. You can just touch it slightly and she will agree to anything, obviously, because she wants her baby healthy, she wants her baby alive. And the numbers are, it goes from 0.03 to 0.06. It's not even
when you
0.
say
0.1.
doubles, but when you say doubles, it sounds like there's 50% chance. Like that's how our brain
literally
interprets.
it's how our brain interprets, and even mine, but
Me
when
too.
I hear it, you're like, my goodness, it's like, exactly, it's like 50% chance my baby is gonna die, but
so we
it's
have
not
a friend.
it's not even one, it's 0.06.
Yeah. And we have a friend who's a doula who today, right now, Sam, I didn't tell you this, was at that birth of a mom who's 43 weeks, 3 days.
Yeah.
And she fired her provider and she's been without care and she has been checking at home with a Doppler. And that's just what she felt. She's a third-time mom and she just has this instinct that she's fine. Her waters released this morning, heavy meconium, went in. They wanted to give this baby have a cesarean immediately, and mom said no. And she said, I'm not even going to consent to a vaginal exam. They put her on the monitors. The baby's fine. And she just had her baby and her baby's fine. And it's but all of us are sitting around going 43 and 3. The doctor and the nurse pulled the doula aside when she went in with them. And we're like, what is going on here? Like, why are you guys coming in right now? And she's like, I lead a horse to water and you can't make it drink. Like, she wasn't going to listen to me. This is her choice. This is not a doula's choice. This is the mom's choice.
Insane.
Shared decision making.
Yeah.
You gotta know what you know. Even I was just listening to Rebecca Decker, who does the evidence-based birth website. She had a post 42 weeks birth with one of her babies, and she is a nurse practitioner who is she writes all of the evidence. She has everything. She is a scientist, and she felt safe to do that because that's what her body told her was safe to do. So listen to your body.
Exactly. This is hard, I know, because we need for walking, we need 2 legs, and we need this support. Most of us, I don't know many women like me who would say, I don't need anyone, and send her husband in another room and just literally give birth by herself without doula, without anyone present. I don't know many women like that. Most of us, we need support, and it's a teamwork. And one of the leg is like your internal, you know, support, your intuition, your like, I don't know, your all your feelings, your confidence, all like that. And then your birth team, your partner, your doula, your midwife, your doctor, your, I don't know, hospital you choose. And most of us, we need two legs, you know. This is hard when you have this internal feeling and internal confidence, but the other leg is like, I'm not sure you can do this, you know.
Yeah.
It's
And
hard to
so
walk.
many of these things go together. Like it's funny, we were gonna, we're calling this the, big babies episode, but so many things go into this. So big
Oh
baby, shoulder dystocia, intuition, post dates. Like, we may have to change the name of the episode, but we're gonna have to have you back to talk about more of these things that people are so
yeah, right.
stinking afraid of and, break it down a little bit. I think that this has been so awesome and that was not
Absolutely.
how we anticipated the episode to
So
go, but we
sorry,
are
I have to
loving it.
tell. Yes, I
No,
in the
don't be
very in the
sorry.
in the very beginning, probably because I had a birth this night and I literally slept like 4 hours. It took me a while. I couldn't fall asleep, adrenaline and everything, you know. So literally 4 hours after we're recording this episode, and I'm like, okay,
We're getting the fruits of it. This is such valuable information
my
for
brain
everybody,
everywhere.
though. I know. I mean, I think, honestly, I think this is going to be such an amazing episode for our listeners because this is such valuable information. And I just have to tell a quick little story before we move on to our last little thing here. And we had Anya supporting one of our own mamas, and she had a big baby. Was told she had a big baby, and it was a whole thing all the way through. Mama ended up having a cesarean because her ginormous, absolutely huge, ginormous baby decided to be breech. So she just felt like what was best for her was to proceed with a cesarean. Her baby was not that big. I don't remember. She was like 8 pounds or
I think she was
something.
big eights. Yeah, like upper
Hey,
eights.
hey, something,
Yeah,
yes,
she was
yes,
just fine. She was just
normal,
fine.
normal.
But this mom came home from the hospital and got to have Anya do her postpartum care, and she had all of these all of these influences from the hospital about how, her baby needed to eat this
Mm-hmm,
often, and there was all of these
mm-hmm,
all this
mm-hmm.
fear about taking care of her baby. And Ciarra and I were like, okay, well, one of us has to get over there so that we can help her with this and just help her reconnect. And then Anya went over for her postpartum visit before we got to go. And she just called us and was like, Anya's amazing. She just helped me reconnect with
It's
my
true.
body and my baby, and I just feel so much more capable as a mother now because I had Anya there to help me reconnect with myself. And I think that's just so beautiful. Starting off
Yeah.
motherhood with that power is so important. And that's why we do what we do, right? We
That's
want
why we do what we
mothers
do
to feel
exactly.
that power. And it's
Yes,
gonna bring tears to my eyes, but
I know.
it's
And
it's
I
she
am
was like,
crying. I
yeah,
am,
she goes, I'm
I
just
did
gonna,
not know that.
yeah, she goes, she told me to just stop with all this triple feeding and just to nurse my baby. And oh my gosh, it's amazing. Like
yeah.
Yes,
once
I
everything just
remember
got out of the
her.
way. Yeah.
Yes, yes, and empowered. You feel how woman's changing, and because exactly this is, I'm thinking about it past months probably a lot. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Because I do believe we are changing the world.
Yes.
It's not about the birth, because this is influence you as a mother, as a woman, like in all your aspects, in staying with you throughout, like
Generations.
the way, exactly the
Generations.
way, I am right now. I was absolutely different person before the birth, the
Mhm.
way of confidence, the way of love I have, to share with my son, with everyone around. It goes from there. We need, like, especially now, all these wars, all this craziness, all the madness
Mhm.
around us. We need more love.
Hmm.
So
Yes.
we need more oxytocin.
And we need little boys that are growing into men that know what
Yes,
normal physiological birth is. And we need little girls that
100%.
grow into women that know that they are capable. And I have
Exactly.
one of each in my home. You have a little
Yeah,
boy in your home. Samantha has
yeah.
one of each in her home. And the influence it has on them without us even realizing it does. They listen.
100%.
They hear our conversations with moms,
100%.
with
Yeah.
Yeah,
families on the phone. So we just are just so thankful that you're willing to share
yeah.
your knowledge with us. And if you guys are in the Austin area, you have the opportunity with Anya. She also has an amazing social media presence. So if you would like to kind of
Working on it.
plug, if you would like to, girl, you working on it. We're in the
Crushing it.
grave if you're just working on it. If you want to share how people can find you, and then we'll also add that information in the show notes.
Yeah, so mostly I'm on Instagram, probably. This is the best way to connect with me. I'm Anya Casteel, Anyacastel. And that's pretty much that's where you can find my website, and work with me as a doula or as a midwife or as a childbirth educator. We'll see. I started to put more attention to my social presence because I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but at some point I would like to be a travel midwife, and I don't want to stick in Austin. I want to be able to move around,
No,
come
absolutely
back here.
unacceptable. We're going to cut that part out because you're staying here. We cannot lose you. We just got you.
That's right.
8 years here. It feels like it's my home already, because I'm definitely this literally feels like my home. I have all my community, all my friends, everyone's here. My family, my parents live here too.
Oh,
So yeah. But we'll see how it goes. So that's how you can contact me and ask the questions, and we'll see how I can help.
I love it so much. Thank you so much for coming on, Anya. This was
Of course.
amazing, and we're blessed to have you in Austin, and we can't wait to have a million babies with you. We're going to send everybody to you.
Thank you.
See. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on Birth, Baby. Thanks again to Longing for Orpheus for our music. You can look him up on Spotify. Remember to leave a review, share, and follow wherever you get your podcasts. See you next week.